If you're a regular visitor here at the Ramshackle Ranch, you'll know that we had a dairy cow named Astrid who just gave birth to her calf, Beatrix. Since then, I've been learning the ins and outs of hand milking, helped by comments from our YouTube community, as well as Astrid's sweet nature. Though we have had an unusually long, hot and dry summer this year, it has been in the back of my mind that the rain must come and I needed a dry place to milk our cow, as well as provide her shelter in the stormiest of weather. I'd been a bit stumped by where to build our budget milk shed, so I asked Don from next door what he thought. He came up with the idea to just add to our existing woodshed. This was a great idea, but in order to work it all out, I thought a quick fishing trip was in order. You know, to clarify my thoughts. The beach we went to has extensive soft dunes to pass, requiring us to drop our tyre pressure to 10 psi. With that done, I was impressed by how easily our new truck handled what can be a difficult track.
This is a really large dune system. I think it might be the largest in the Southern Hemisphere, but it's a shifting dune system. It keeps like gobbling up smaller dunes and trees and things like that. So they come and put these posts through to just keep people on a track, because a few people use this place, but it always changes. So.
It's been a while since I've had to read a surf beach, but we managed to find a nice near-shore gutter and get onto an Australian salmon. They are good fighters and use the surf well in the battle, as it turns out a bit too well. All my rods are one piece, so I borrowed a two-piece for the trip. A bit of high sticking that I would normally get away with led to disaster. We still got the fish, and I figured I only needed one of this size anyway. Returning home, the first step was to roughly level the site of our new milking shed. With Don and the dog supervising, it went like clockwork. We extended the shed walls with a string line to guide us and got things square on the diagonal. We didn't bother with batter boards on this quick job. I don't have the luxury of a mechanical auger, and the summertime ground is hard.
Well, it looks like you're never too old to be done with crowbarring. Right around, Don, do you want to have a go? Sometimes you're too smart to have a go.
You're a bit younger than me.
That doesn't feel like very much, mate.
Don provided one of the poles from his treasure hoard, while I found another on our block.
Did we guess right?
We used levels to get the poles vertical and to find our roof level.
Pretty good. Yeah.
All of the timber for our new shed is recycled and of indeterminate age, just like any good farm building.
Well, if you've been with us for a while, you'll know that we like to do a bit of recycling or upcycling. Some people might even call it scavenging. So there's some fiberglass sheeting sitting here. It's in not amazing condition, but I think it should be, excuse me while I get absolutely attacked by these dogs. It should be okay for making this little makeshift cow shelter. I might have to just take care of a few little holes that are in here. So here we go, because this is such lightweight construction, I'm just going to follow on from how this shed was built. So instead of rafters and then battens, they pretty much just went for battens going across, call them bafters. So this is some pretty rough sawn old jarrah. I don't know how old it is or where it's come from. We've pulled the nails out of it, but it's long enough, it's strong enough, so it's going to go here, and then we're just going to put 3 sheets of roofing on this. It's got quite a bow in it. It's never been through a thicknesser, but you can see the marks of it where it's actually just gone and just come straight out of a bush mill from the looks of it. Pretty wild bit of gear. Anyway, it's going to look just as rustic as the woodshed, so it'll be all right. Yeah, I don't think so. As nice as it is to reuse and recycle things, some things are just too far gone. That's definitely the case with this old fiberglass. So the fibres, it's so degraded that the fibres are actually coming off it. So I gave it a bit of a clean up, saw if I could use it, and I don't think I can. So it's not just that these large fibres are going to be peeling off it. There'll be definitely fibres that I can't see. Each time there's a bit of a breeze or something like that, it's going to be shedding more. I just don't want to be breathing that in through the future. It does, sadly, it does look a little bit too scabby to use as well. So I know that once I put that up there, if I had to look at it every day, I'd sort of hate being in there. So
Astrid is used to getting her treats in a halved barrel, so I put that in for now as it's familiar to her. They are very easy to keep clean. Next, I wanted a removable barrier to define the stall.
So now that I've got Astrid in here, I can see that this pole is in the wrong spot, it needs to go back. I was hoping it'd be there just because I had these steel lightweight poles that I could put in as a barrier. Anyway, we'll get Astrid used to this. I do need to move that pole. I can still milk her around it, but I think there'd be better ways. Well, I find a tractor comes in pretty handy a lot of the time, but this has to be a this has to be a new one. Putting roofing on by yourself is always a little bit tricky. Well, I can't think of many things that I dislike as much as getting up on a ladder. even at this very modest height, I don't really like it. I don't mind going up all sorts of trees and everything like that if I'm in a harness with a rope. So it's not really the height that gets me. They've just never felt safe to me. Might be a little bit of overkill on a little shed like this, but I do like to use a string line just to get all my roofing screws in a nice straight line. Not that the parrots will mind, but I'll know it's up here. Well, there we go, we're making sourdough as well. So we're taking a little bit of a break from making the cow shelter. We'll go back out there and get back into it. But I just wanted to point out that when we're being self-sufficient, we've often got a lot of jobs going on in any one day. They might not all make it to video, but it's not actually a way of life for people that like a lot of leisure time. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I've got some more to do, so let's go. So I've done the not too exciting job of sinking another pole here. Now what I want is a crossbar. I've got this nice bit of metal. A friend of mine had a house and it had this holding up an antenna, and he got rid of it, so I snaffled it. So it's not quite on the inside, so I'll just have to trim it down, but I just have to make a bracket now that I can just drop that into. If this, if I was dealing with sort of unfriendly, wild sort of cow, this probably wouldn't do it. But with Astrid, she's very, very calm. And basically what I want to do is just have something to, that will resist if she sort of leans against it, because she doesn't really try fences that much, and just give her a visual cue of where she's supposed to go to the feeder. But I want to have a bar that I can lift up out of the way and just leave this space open. Why would I want to do that? When the weather gets cold and really rainy, I'll just leave Astrid in here. She can sleep in here and stay pretty dry.
For the brackets, I marked up some solid wood to drill 2 holes about 200 millimeters apart. I joined these holes with a line to cut with a jigsaw, which I managed not to film. Then used a drop saw to halve it to give 2 brackets. A very quick job. I don't have a drop saw for metal pipe, but marking with tape gives nice square cuts with a grinder.
Okay, that looks square enough. At the moment this bar is just a little bit tight, and I will grind it a bit, but I just wanted a really nice interference fit just at the moment to get this level, and then I'll fix in those end pieces, and then I'll run the grinder on the ends and just make it so I can pop this out easily. I did pre-drill these on the drill press just because I wanted this to go relatively easy. There. So this thing can come out fairly easily, and you might wonder why that is. So there's a couple of reasons I've done it like that. When I've finished milking and Astrid wants to go, then of course I can just take that and I don't need a front gate. She can go out any other way. The other reason I wanted to do that is I didn't want anything in the center here, because when it gets really cold later on and particularly rainy, I might just leave Astrid here over night time. I'll cordon off an area so she can walk around a bit and put water here. But I think it might be nice for our milk cow to be able to get out of the rain. The predominant wind comes from this side, so she should be able to find a nice spot in here and be quite comfortable at night time. And that'll give me peace of mind as well, because I know that last winter, even with our pigs, it used to give me a bit of anxiety to think that they were out in the rain and the cold, because I hate being out in the rain and cold. So if I think that our milk cow is up here, it'll actually make me happier, hopefully as well as her. But I don't suppose, she's not much of an abstract thinker, our cow. This contraption here is what we use to run out our polywire electric fence. Astrid doesn't know that there's no electricity in it. She's very sensitive to it. So I'm just going to run this just as a barrier, and it will act as a barrier even though it's just a bit of string. She really, really does not like electric shocks. Neither do I, for that matter, so I can sympathise. I'll put these in, I'll adjust the height of these runners later to cow size. At the moment they are being used for a pig who also hate electric shocks. So there we go, that should keep Astrid contained. Now I need to go and fetch her and see what she thinks. Come on. Oh, you're amazing. What a great cow you are. There you go, everything you could want. Oh, Astrid. Well, that's pretty amazing. What a cow. Like she's been doing it the whole time. Let's see how this all works out. Give you a nice warm wash first, Astrid. So this is really great. Her legs are in the right position and everything. There, she's very cooperative. She actually likes the washing part. That's any mastitis? No, wouldn't expect there to be any either, would you? The thing we really like about calf sharing the milk with the little calf, is that we never ever have any problems with Astrid's teats. You can't leave milk in there because as soon as we finish, of course, it smells like milk and it gets the calf excited, and Beatrix sorts it out for us, which is really great. This milking stall arrangement, I don't know if this would be ideal for people with a very jittery cow, an aggressive cow, one that, like kicked and carried on a bit. Astrid doesn't. I do still need to get out of the way of her. She's a bit heavier than I am. But that's fine. I can easily get out of here. Most of my milking is done pressed up hard against Astrid's side, not talking to a camera like I'm doing at the moment. I'm usually humming some nice tune to her. What I might do is actually put a little speaker in here and play her. We'll see if she likes Bach or Mozart or something like that. I've heard that's a very traditional way to settle your cow in. But she might be a Jimi Hendrix girl, we don't know. We'll just have to go through the repertoire and see what keeps her relaxed. But this is day one of being milked in here, and she's already settling into it quite well. Now I haven't made a head bail for this one to sort of trap Astrid's neck in any way. I could, I suppose, put a halter on her. We'll work up to that. At the moment we're just relying on her good graces. For as long as she's got nice treats in here, she's a pretty well behaved cow generally. But that does that does limit how much milk we can get out of her because we're relying on the we're relying on her just to be calm while she eats her favourite food. Cows can eat quick. We can see that even though this pole is not that much of a sturdy thing, Astrid doesn't challenge it. It gives her a good visual and physical cue. She doesn't really like me being up at her head. She prefers me back there with milking. One of our kind commenters, when we made our first video about a dairy cow, I asked for advice, and there's been a flood of really great advice, so thank you everyone. A real game changer that we got was sticking your milking pail between your knees. It enables you to sort of move with the cow and sort of adapt to conditions as they evolve. No, Astrid, you can't put your foot there. Come on, get the other way. Thank you. That's our usual routine. If Astrid puts a foot wrong, I just rub it with my boot until she moves it. She's a very cooperative cow. You would think that she's been a dairy cow all her life instead of a paddock cow that we just got a couple of months ago. Well, not a couple, a few months ago. So I'm just going to leave her in this enclosed area now. I might fill up a couple of buckets of water for her. I might just let her just get used to this area for a while. Just leave her alone for a bit. Yeah, Astrid. Let me take this pole down for you. There you go. All this is yours. Astrid was left with another bucket of spent brewer's grain and a bucket of apples, her favourite, while she got used to her new penthouse. It's a combination irresistible to our goats as well.
Well, look.
Okay, that's not too bad. Smells great. Obviously a sawdust floor is like a work in progress. As we add to it and the cow tromps on it, it'll just keep getting a little bit better. I've also got a bit of waste hay over there that I might grab and put in here, although the cow will probably eat that, knowing her. So that's all pretty good. We really do like using sawdust for our animal bedding. This stuff, it's like very, very high in carbon, very low in nitrogen. That means the addition of animal manure, urine, stuff like that, helps this stuff to compost, and then it goes into our garden. So I was considering that. Some people like to make their milking parlours, their floors out of concrete, which is fantastic if you want to be able to wash it down with a pressure hose or something like that to keep things hygienic. Another view on keeping things hygienic is supplying enough carbon, to absorb urine and things like that. Obviously, if the cow takes a poo in here, I'll scoop that and I'll take that away to my worm farm, which I built up for. In another episode, we discussed that we had the cow in confinement for a while, and so I was picking up the cow pats out of the paddock. So the worm farm is actually full of really good potting mix nowadays. So there we go. What I'll do is I'll just keep adding to this as it keeps getting tromped down. I think it should be quite nice. In the winter, I said before that I was hoping that the cow would like to maybe come and bed down here in the winter time when it's a bit wet out there. Again, more sawdust. I'll just keep putting it down. If it starts to compost, that'll actually give her a nice warm bed. And of course, if we can find some hay or waste straw, we'll throw that in here as well. And just periodically, I'll be able to muck it out. It's a shame you can't smell what this is like actually through the camera, but very, very nice stuff. There you go. If this was concrete, I'd be here for another couple of hours mucking around with this, but as it is, this floor will just never be finished. What do you think, Astrid? Well, there you go. So far, it's a success. The sawdust is really quite comfortable. I'd like it to pack down a little bit more. We are actually getting some nice eastern sun in the morning, so provided I get out of bed nice and early, Astrid can have a nice sunbathe here on her belly while she gets milked. It's all worked out pretty well. Again, I'll think about some other modifications that I might want to make. Now that the shelter's actually here, I'll give it some thought. I may still make a head bale. I have to get Astrid used to anything around her neck and head. As you can see, she's not that keen on it. She was never raised to it from a calf. She's always been a bit wild. The other things that I'd like to do now that this is up and running, the rains are still a little way off, but I do need to fix the guttering on the woodshed, and when I do that, I will of course just extend the guttering along here. There's a water tank that we use to flush our toilet that collects water off the roof. Of course, I can use that to water Astrid. If I have her staying in here, then I'll set up a self-waterer for the cow. Sorry, Astrid, it's all a bit unusual, isn't it? Me talking and waving, waving my hands around. She just likes things a little bit calm and orderly. But anyway, thanks very much for joining us on this little shed build. It's not a grand project, I admit, but it has actually added quite a bit to our quality of life. Where are you going, Astrid? She knows where the food is, she'll come back. Astrid. That's an empty bucket, mate. You can't come this way.